Hello, everybody. Welcome to Match Chats. Today's guest is the always amazing Mortis Media. Mortis, how are you today?
Hello. Yeah, I'm not bad. How are you?
I'm not too bad, my man. So, what you been up to?
Well, a lot really. As some of the listeners may know, I've been working on channel improvements, shall we say,
Hmm.
and this has taken up a lot of my time.
Really?
Um, so yeah, I've been working on improving the way I do my videos, the quality in general. I mean, hopefully you can hear. My viewers should be able to hear a difference in quality already. I invested in soundproofing and just like better mics and stuff, just stuff that would hopefully improve the quality of the channel. And currently working on the look of the channel, going to be changing up the look a little bit, going to try and make it a bit more fresh and go from there, really.
Now, what has it been like to implement all these new changes?
Well, I'm still currently planning and making because some of the stuff I want to do takes time and money. So you know, everything I'm getting, I'm putting back out there in the
Yeah.
hopes that I can make something better. But when it's ready to go, I'm really hoping that it's received well by the community, and I'm excited to hear their feedback when that happens. So yeah, everything's going good. Just trying to work really hard, trying to do more streams. Maybe maybe once all this other stuff's done, I'd like to work with a few more people. You know, see if any other people in the horror community want to maybe like collaborate and stuff.
Well, you
But yeah,
know I
just
do.
yeah. So just a lot more work, and
Hmm.
obviously we've scaled it back from every day to now only 4 times a week because otherwise I wouldn't have time to try and make all these changes. And I've only I've only I've only done it for about a week now, but my head already feels a lot lighter, a lot less stressful because it's working every day is exhausting.
Hmm.
It really does take a toll on you, just the grind. And I think when you work too much, sometimes it just becomes habit. Like instead of being fun and challenging, it just becomes I've got to do this every day because it's what I've got to do, and it stops becoming fun. And pulling it back a little bit and reflecting, it was like, okay, well, I can appreciate this a bit better now because now that I don't have to do it every day and I can focus on improving what I'm doing, that's fun as well. And I can have more fun narrating the stories, knowing I'm trying to give and do a better a better quality video. So for my mentally, it's also better for me. But yeah, that's just how I'm feeling about this. Really, hopefully soon all the everything pays off. I've heard of a few people in the live chat and in the comment section saying, "Oh, you should stop complaining," and I was like, "Well, it's not really complaining. It's more like explaining why everything's happening and just so that you understand my thought process. Really,
Hmm.
I want it because so many people are like watch my videos. I want people to be aware of like the changes and why and how they're happening. So
That's
yeah.
understandable. And unfortunately, those people don't see it like you do, and like a lot of the others do, a lot of your other fans, because what people don't know is it's a lot of work to be a YouTuber. A lot of viewers are like, "Oh, it's easy. You just gotta upload a video," but they don't understand the work that goes into one video. You have
Oh
the
no.
recording time, you have the recording process, then you have to do the editing, then you have to edit in the music, you have to make the thumbnail, and it does take a while.
Oh yeah, and of course finding the stories doesn't happen by itself and getting
Hmm.
permission and all of that. This is a whole different game. It's so much work just to make one video.
And for
It's
some, it's a full time job. Like it's
well,
almost
exactly.
like a full time job.
Oh, it's more than a full-time job. It's more hours a week than a full-time job.
Oh,
But
it's true.
yeah, but if you love what you do, it's worth the time.
Exactly. Well, man, I'm really glad that you're implementing changes. You've been at this a long time. You've been doing, the same stuff for a long time now, and to hear that you have this fresh idea and that you're going to implement it very soon is really exciting, especially for
Thank
me as
you.
a longtime fan, and I can only imagine how the other fans feel.
Well, I hope it's well received. I was thinking of just like killing the name Mortis Media and replacing it with something like I don't know, scary stories with more, or true scary stories by more. And although I've got used to Mortis Media and it's written on my like my silver play button and stuff, and everything is based around Mortis Media. Part of me was thinking, well, if it's called something else, maybe more people will find it, because when people do searches for scary stories, right, it's a lot more searchable, and if your channel is called Scary Stories, it's more likely to pop up. At least in my opinion. This is all obviously just speculation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking, every people's channels, generally speaking, are they like got cool names that all horror related, and yeah, like I was just thinking, like maybe it's time to just change Mortis Media to something else. I think I don't. I remember that Darkness Prevails never changed his name, but he changed his logo a few times, and people are cool with it. So I think changing your logo should be fine. But yeah, I don't know if changing the name is one step too far. People on stream, when I mentioned it, were really saying that it was a bad idea.
Um,
But yeah, like people know the name,
it's
but
true.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's just thoughts, isn't it? Nothing
Yes.
concrete just yet.
My opinion. I don't know if you really care or not about my opinion, but
That's good. Yeah.
as a longtime fan, I don't think you should change the name. Maybe the logo. You've been using the logo, the same logo, for a very long time now.
Even Mr. Nightmare changed his logo, so
Yeah, I think a logo change could be a good thing, and I do agree with you that maybe changing the name is a step too far, um, because Mortis Media is well known, and the beautiful thing about media being the second thing is that it could also give you a little bit more freedom in what you do with your videos, because it's a media, not just Mortis Scary Stories or
it's true. It's true.
Mortis terror stories or Mortis creepypastas. It media is is an umbrella term for really anything in the media realm. So
You know what? I didn't when the channel was made. Originally it wasn't Mortis Media wasn't my first choice.
really,
It was actually because there was a bunch of us when the channel was first made, and we all made the channel together. And people were saying, even though it was like me, the one who instigated it, and it was like my idea to make something happen. But when the six of us got together, it was like, well, what are we going to call it? And I said, oh, I know. Why don't we call it Night Terrors? And they all, because the thing is, I had like horror narrations on the channel in mind already. Like, even though we were going to just do scary videos at the start, I
hmm
thought it'd be cool to do scary stories as well. Um, Maybe, like with a video or something. The idea wasn't really there yet.
hmm
So I thought a cool name like Night Terrors would be something that would be good, because I liked the term. But then I was outvoted by everyone else. They're like, no, 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 that name's crap. Let's think of another name. So everyone ended up voting for Mortis Media. And I'm not gonna lie, when everyone was like, yeah, Mortis Media, that's a great name, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm not really happy with it, but I'll just roll with it. And I just kept the name and kept on going, because I didn't know what to ever change it to. And it just is what it is now.
hmm
It is the name.
it's the brand. It's the name and the brand. In a
Yeah.
lot of ways. Is it still
Um,
more than one of you working with the channel, or is it just you now?
well, it was me, my
Uh-huh.
wife's sister,
Okay.
my friend Daniel, he's a professional photographer,
Okay.
his brother Kenny, and my friend Jeffrey. The six of
Oh.
us started out together. The first video we ever made was for Rob Gavigan's competition. We
Yep.
didn't win, but we still entered. We still made a cool video.
I remember you
And
telling me about it.
yeah, and we made the video, and no one ever wanted to carry on, so it was just me who ended
Mm.
up doing it, and I obviously changed it because I didn't have the skill to make videos.
Right. Right.
So I was just like, I'm just going to read scary stories because I like listening to them, and I think it'd be something really cool to do. And yeah, it just went from there, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But no, I do agree with you. I think Mortis Media is just kind of well known for what it is. You're really well known in the community now. A lot of people look up to you, and to change the name now, I think I'm not gonna
It's
say
too far.
it's too far. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be like a disservice for the fans, but it would be such a big difference that When someone's like, "Oh, do you watch Mortis Media?" and they'd be like, "No, I've never seen them." Well, you got to go home and look up Mortis Media. But then when they try to look up Mortis Media, they're not gonna find you. They're gonna find, you know, maybe some of your old
Something else.
videos or something else. Yeah, and it would be your videos, but it'd be under the new name, so they wouldn't know. And
This is true. This is true. Yeah. Well, you like I'm saying, it's just thoughts. It's just ideas. I mean, I've gotten used to multimedia. I don't dislike it. I like the name.
mhm,
I just wanted to explain that at the start. I
yeah.
really wasn't very happy about it.
And it's kind of interesting how it's grown on you, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It definitely grows on you when you've been, when you've been using it for years.
Right. Now, how's the family doing, my man? How you been?
Yeah, good. We've had a few tragedies, a few personal tragedies, a
I'm
few
sorry to
deaths
hear that.
last few days. I don't really want to get into it,
Right,
but
of course, of
we're,
course.
we're dealing with it privately.
Yeah.
It's just been a rough week.
Mhm.
It's the new week, isn't it? So last week has been a bit rough.
I am sorry to hear about your losses, my friend.
It's not fair to say my losses really. It's just my cousin's been living with us for like 6 months now.
Mhm.
She came to visit and help out with Pandora and stuff. So it's been nice having her around. But she her dad's best friend passed away. Then the other week from COVID.
Mhm.
Then this week her uncle died of COVID like 2 days ago, and then her granddad died the day
Ooh,
after. So
it's.
it's
Mhm.
it's the as a family unit we've been pretty down these last few days. It's rough.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's we just attended a
Oh,
Google Meets funeral service. It's pretty rough. Like sometimes when you live in your little bubble, you forget how brutal the pandemic can be, and it really sucks. It's but you just have to keep going, don't you?
yeah. Are you vaccinated now? Have you been able to get
No, it's not
vaccinated?
available for me just yet, but I do
What?
want to get it as soon as it's available.
What can I ask? What country do you live in? I think it's the UK, right? Didn't you tell me it's
Yeah,
the UK? All right.
yeah.
I'm actually surprised it's not available over there.
No, it's just the age group.
Oh, they're doing it by age group still.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I live quite rural, so it's a little bit
Oh,
slower.
right, right. Um, no, fortunately, America has opened it up to everybody. Unfortunately, America is also opening up states again and allowing too much freedom. So, uh, you know, it's not great. I'm fully vaccinated though, so I'm not
Oh, well
as
done,
worried.
well done. That's really good. I know
It was
it.
worth it, but I got so sick from both of them, my man. The first one, I
Which one did you go? Which one did you get?
I got the
Was it
Moderna.
Moderna? I don't really know.
Um,
I have a friend who's a geneticist, and they explained that I think it's AstraZeneca. No, Pfizer has newer technology, and AstraZeneca is more traditional. So that's why if you go for
uh,
AstraZeneca, you're more likely to get a little bit sick or your arm to hurt. But with Pfizer, nearly, it's nearly no symptoms because
wow.
of the new technology.
I wish
But
I
I
had
didn't
known
know.
about that.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'm going to show up and it's going to be like, which one would you like? It's going to be like, this is what you're going to be stabbed with today. Just deal with it.
That's pretty much what I got was
Yeah.
I just signed up for the COVID shot. I went up there and they're like, "All right, you ready?" And they're like, I'm like, "Yeah." Wait, aren't there two? And they're like, "Yeah, here you go." And they just went on with it.
Yeah, well,
It's
I'm scared
like,
of needles, but this is the only time I'm actually looking forward to being jabbed in the arm.
I
So
gotta tell you though, I will tell you, after getting both of them now in the same place on the same arm, the initial shot doesn't hurt. You don't feel the initial shot.
it's
Like,
the second one.
no. Like both of them, you don't feel them. Like they go in
It,
so smoothly that it
it's
doesn't
it's
hurt.
it's it's a phobia, really. I'm
Yeah.
scared of needles, and I know,
Okay.
especially if you're like a diabetic that needs to like inject yourself with insulin every day.
Yeah.
It must be, hearing this is rough. Like
Yeah.
like it's silly, but
Mhm.
and for nurses and doctors who do this every day,
Oh,
I can't stand looking at needles. I can't
I'm the same
see other
way.
people be injected or vaccinated. It makes me cringe. I have
Same
to
way.
avert my gaze, and I got a blood test done the other month,
Mhm.
and I was literally so scared going into that building just for a blood test. I was like fear.
I feel your
Like
pain.
I can't deal with it. I really just can't deal with it. During my wedding, I had to have a blood test before our wedding,
Really?
And the guy comes up and he pulls up a needle, and I said, "Oh my God, no, 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 that's too big. I can't." And I just started freaking out. He's like, "Look, calm down, calm down. I can give you a baby needle." And I was like, "Yeah, go get the baby needle." And he got this much smaller needle, and he was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna put it in now." And I was like, "Okay." And I looked away, and it didn't hurt. Like, obviously, you hardly feel it,
Right.
but it's just the fact, just knowing that it's invading your
Yeah.
body and like going in and sucking your blood out. It's just, I don't know. I can't.
Look,
I
man,
hate
look,
that.
look. I know how
I
you
can't deal with
feel.
it.
I have a fear of needles too. Even though I got tattoos, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're afraid of needles, but you got tattoos," and there's a big difference between the two kinds. But, um, no, I am the same way. I have been injected with probably over 1,000 different needles in my short life, and every time it has not gotten better. And when I have to get blood tests done, when my son was getting his shots, everything, I looked away. When my son was getting his shots, I did my very best to look at him, but I couldn't. I had to just hold his little hand and look away because it killed me. Whenever my wife gets blood done, and for some reason she wants me in the room, knowing I hate needles, I look away. I leave the room. I do not do needles. And so I feel your pain, man. Uh,
Yeah, no,
I
I
I
really,
was
I can't deal
freaking
with it.
out when I got my first COVID shot. Like I was freaking out. They were like, "Look, you have to calm down and stay still, or we're gonna have to strap you down, or you're not gonna get it. It's one of those three." And I'm like, "Okay, all right." So I just stayed very still and I looked at my son the whole time. I was just staring at him. He's smiling up at me, and I'm smiling back at him. But inside, I am dying. I'm
You know,
dying,
I think
bro.
I know, I am exactly the same because at this same time, right before our wedding, my wife had to get bloods done too, and she held my hand during the whole thing. And then when she was getting hers done, she sat down in the chair and she was like, "Wait, are you not gonna wait with me?" And I was like, "Sorry, I can't look at this," and I just walked out the room. I mean, she joked about it with me later, but I don't think she really cared because she knows I'm really scared. But I think it all goes back to primary school, or what do you call it? Like grade school? I don't know what you call it in the States. When you're like
like
before 11.
Okay, so like the first grade through like the fourth grade, right?
Is there like a name for the smaller school?
It's an elementary school.
Elementary, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So when I was in like primary school or elementary school,
Okay.
I remember one day everyone was leaving, like a few of us were leaving the class and going to the hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we all went to the hall and we were all in the queue. And there were these curtains up. And I was like, what's going on behind the curtains? And right when it was my turn, I was like all excited, like, oh, what's behind this curtain? And there was two women there, and I was like, oh, hi. And they were like, hi, it's good to meet you. So tell me, what do you want for Christmas this year? And I was like, wow, that's a really good question for March. Let me think. And then, one of these women distracted me and was talking to me, and the other one, before I even knew it, had a needle in my arm, and I was just like, what? Ow! And she was like, just don't move. Don't move. And then it was like over in 2 seconds, and I was just started crying. I was like, what the hell is this? And the other woman was like, all right, you can go now. And I was like, but I didn't even get to finish my Christmas list. And I just walked away crying, feeling like robbed of telling someone information, being stabbed in the arm. And I think from then I've really hated needles because I just felt, I remember this, and this is like 25 years, 23 years ago it must have been. And it's just, I don't know.
You felt like your
Maybe if
privacy was invaded by
I don't know, maybe if I'd have been prepared for it, I might have had a different
a different
in.
reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and there was another time when I was a little bit older. I had an ear infection, and for some reason they had to inject me in the butt, and that really, really hurt. I remember the pain; it was horrible. But yeah, me and needles are not friends. We do not agree.
Have you thought
And
about getting a tattoo?
no, I could never get a tattoo. Never. I can't even fathom having a needle put into me. For like I was scared that my dad was like, yeah, when you're over a certain age in the UK, you have to have blood tests done every year. Like
Mm-hmm.
they suggest it, and I think you have to do it. And I was like, oh God, I hope I never, like, not that I ever get, I hope that takes ages to arrive because I'm so scared of doing that. silly stuff like that. I'm just
Hmm.
so terrified of needles.
I know, I understand, man. Needles are never fun.
No.
Whenever I have like an asthma attack and I have to go to the hospital, they always put an IV in, and it
Oh,
is the worst thing in the world. And I do
because
everything.
they're
I tell
chunky,
them,
aren't
I'm
they?
like, you got to do everything you can without giving me an injection. And they're like, look, we have to give you this IV because we got to put the steroids directly into your blood system to help you breathe. I'm like,
Ugh.
fuck. Okay. Uh, so I feel your pain. But I will tell you, as someone who doesn't like needles, funny enough, I like getting tattoos. And I think it's
Yeah,
because it
no.
feels different.
I could never do. I could never. I can't get a tattoo.
No, no, no.
I'm
It's
too
not for
scared.
everybody. Yeah, I
No.
understand. I understand. I'm not trying to push you to. Please don't. I'm just.
No. I get it. I get it. I'm just saying I could never.
Oh boy.
I could never embrace the fear. I don't think I could.
My
I
my
don't.
thing is when I'm getting a tattoo though, I can't look at them doing it. Because I don't like the needle. So
How much do they have to push it in?
no, not far. They only push it through like a couple layers of skin, man. Like it.
Also, it doesn't. It's not all the way in.
No, 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 no. It doesn't go all the way in your arm. No, it's not like an injection needle where they have to like stick it all the way in. No, no, no. It's a tattoo gun. Like it has a very small needle, a needle that's depending on if you're getting color or not. If you're just getting like line work, it's just a small. It's like two or three small needles, right? And they're not even bigger than a centimeter, or whatnot. And it just literally goes on the top layers of your skin. It doesn't. It
Ah, I
doesn't
see
go
what you
into
mean.
your arm. It just goes into the top few layers of your skin so the ink can stay.
I see. No, well, I didn't know. I mean, I've got
Oh, really?
friends who are tattoo artists, and
Mm-hmm.
I've never asked them because I've never really wanted to know.
Yeah, no, no, no. It just goes into a few layers of skin. It doesn't really go into your arm much.
Okay.
And if you get like color though, it's like a lot of those small needles at once because it's gotta apply a lot more for the color. And so
Yeah.
I only really stick to black and white because it's less needles, a little less pain. Um, and I like the look of black and white anyway.
Nah, that's cool. Yeah. No, I just remembered something. All this
Yeah.
talk of needles is that when I was quite young, I think like 4 or 5,
Mm-hmm.
like I think I dropped a box of sewing needles. You know, one of my mum's
Ooh.
sewing kits, and as I picked them all up, and I thought, I'd done that. And then when I went to say, because I dropped it in my mum's room, and when I went to say goodnight to her, because it was a carpet, I stood on a needle and it went right through my big toe and came out the other end. We had to go
Oh.
to the hospital to get it extracted. So
Oh.
I've had really bad luck with needles. So,
Yes.
my hatred, I think, is perfectly justified.
It is absolutely justified, Mortis. It's 100% mortal. Understandable.
Uh,
Boy, if I was in your shoes, I would hate needles too. Like,
oh, yeah, well, I certainly do.
good reason though. Ah, man, this has been exciting. We've talked about the rebranding of your channel, your absolute hatred of needles, and a little bit about your recent losses, which again, I am very sorry for.
It's all right. Thank
Um,
you.
you know, I'm excited to see what you do with your channel. Like as someone who's been watching you for years and years and watch you grow and become the I don't know the well-known character you are in the field of narration. Do you ever look back sometimes and just get excited about what you've done?
There are a few videos that I am really proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a playlist called The Very Best of More, and I don't often put stuff in there, but when I do, it's really special. Like, I think in 2018 on my birthday, someone sent me a few years back a really long script for a creepypasta, and I think it was like 30 pages. And it took me a few days to read it all, but I really liked the story.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, because I didn't have the time for it, like this is in 2016, I think, I had some friends narrate it over an 8-part series, and
Mm-hmm.
it did okay. But because I really liked this story, I was like, you know what? For my birthday, I'm gonna redo it, and I'm gonna have, because there are like demonic soul voices in it, and I'm gonna have my friends be part of it, and it was really good. I think it was a lot to edit everyone in, but I got loads of people in the horror community to to just do a few demonic voices, and I put them in the background,
Right.
and it was really fun. I think it was quite successful. People really enjoyed it. And another thing I did not too recently, not too long ago, sorry, with Being Scared and a few other horror narrators, was our rendition of another classic creepypasta that we really liked called The Whitmore Hotel. Or I think the creepypasta name is I Work at a Haunted Hotel. And it was like a 2 hour or 3 hour, I think it was like 2 hour long video. Me as the main character and Being Scared as, another character and a few other small characters in there. Again, a few more narrators. And it was really fun. It took a long time to make, and I really enjoyed doing it because these big projects were really fun to do and to make. And yeah, it's just some of the stuff that, even though it takes more time, I'm really proud of doing it. Like, obviously I'm proud of every video I make for the most part, but when you do stuff that you have to do over a few weeks, you know even though I knew it wouldn't get as many views, I was still happy because I really thought the quality was top notch.
And a lot of your videos are top notch though, and but I will agree that maybe some of your videos are like the best quality, are like your peaks. Every YouTuber has mountain peaks in terms of what they consider to be their best, and
Yeah, like I think let Lazy Masquerade, well, a few years back, he said that he really wanted to do a video, and so he did it just for him, and he'd see how his audience would react. And it didn't get that many views. And then he did a video that he didn't particularly like doing, but he knew would get a lot of views, and it did. And he said at the end of one of these videos, I put a lot of work into this, and I do one video just for myself, and I think, and I put way more work into it, and it's excellent, and it gets okay views, and then I do one that I know you'll like, even though I don't like doing it as much, and it just doesn't get the views, and it's just like, it's a shame. Sometimes something that you think is really good, and that you're super proud of, isn't always what your audience are after. So it's just like, because I'm not a creepypasta channel, I suppose, a really long 2 hour creepypasta, as brilliant as it may be, isn't going to attract my audience, is it? Because it's just not something they're used to.
that is a good point. That is a good point. Because I will find like I watch all your videos regardless of if
Thank
it's
you.
creepypasta, but I do find that when I see true scary story in the title, I do find it personally more attractive.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I mean, this is mainly what I do, true scary stories. The only months I really throw in the occasional creepypasta
Hmm.
is usually January or February, because the views really drop and the money really drops
Mm-hmm.
in those months. So I just think, well, I can be a bit bold and throw something out there that people, aren't really expecting, and just hope for the best.
So we have about 15 minutes left because I know you have to go grab your daughter here soon. Um, so I gotta ask. You touched on that in our last in our interview, not this podcast
Mhm.
episode, that you have never experienced something supernatural. But I gotta ask you in something. Do you believe in the existence of aliens?
I do. I don't know if they've made contact with our planet. I mean, I've seen and I've read a lot of people's experiences about this,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's, dramatized and maybe even a little bit exaggerated on TV shows. Um, I've met people. I actually went to my mum's friends,
Mm-hmm.
and he got a society of people who believed to have been abducted in the north of England to come down to London, and he hosted this fancy event, talking about UFOs and stuff, and it was interesting. I met a guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to lie, and I don't want to be prejudiced, but he did seem a little bit off his rocker. And he
Okay.
told me that he had been abducted 3 times. And
Hmm.
the thing is, it's just like, for me, there's a scale of believability. For
Okay.
me personally, I don't know how it is for everyone else. But for someone to say, for example, they've seen a ghost, I will most of the time believe it at face value, because I believe in ghosts. I believe they exist to some degree, and I genuinely think that if, the whole human race has constantly just been lying about it, and the first person to make it up just thought it'd be trending, and then everyone consequently who wants to just make something up is just like, oh, you know what, I saw a ghost. I just don't buy that so many people would waste their time pretending something's happening when it's not.
That's a fair
So
point.
I think ghosts are real, and that's just what I believe.
Right.
And I think ghosts, and then I think cryptids, like creatures like Bigfoot and stuff, things that people haven't seen. I think they're most likely out there. I believe in them less than ghosts. And then finally we have aliens, because I think they're definitely out there somewhere. Whether they've made contact or not, I wouldn't know. But for someone to then say not only have they been abducted once, but 3 times, that's when it's a bit like, well, what makes you so special to have been abducted 3 times? And if they're so sophisticated, how come you remember it?
Yeah.
That's it's what goes through my mind. That
I I agree that that one seems a little, you know, okay. Let's be a little real here. Aliens are a very huge possibility, right?
yeah, for sure.
Now, when we get into the talk of alien abductions, there have been stories that have been told that are really, really fascinating,
Convincing. Yeah.
really convincing, like the Betty and Barney Hill story. Whether that was real or not, there's evidence for both sides of that argument. But it's a really convincing story. But that's just about one abduction, and then you hear very occasionally about people getting abducted, right? And then you have this guy coming along saying he's been abducted 3 times with no evidence or proof.
But the thing is that there's not going to be any evidence or proof, is there? That's what I
Exactly.
mean. It's so easy to just say I've been
Mm-hmm.
abducted, because people are, okay, what's the proof? Because what I'm saying is, I know that when someone says a ghost story, they generally sound like every ghost story that everyone else has ever told.
That's a fair
And
point.
I appreciate that that's just how it is with ghost stories, because it's just like, I saw a ghost, it was white, oh, it was transparent, and I saw it and I was scared, I shat my pants, and
Shat
then
my
it was
pants.
gone. Um, but with aliens, it's like, well, I know that aliens, are must be out there, and I know that when they abduct people, they, like either probe their butt or do things to them, like medical stuff to them. So all that someone has to say is, oh yeah, they abducted me, they tried to wipe my memory, but then I remembered after they did a whole bunch of medical stuff on me. I think I think the fine line between, for me anyway, between alien abductees or alleged alien abductees and people who've seen ghosts is because when I saw the people who were claiming to have seen aliens, I feel like they're people who don't have a lot going on in their life. And so
Hmm.
maybe, like, I'm not being disrespectful, but this is just my opinion. Maybe they feel the need to invent or fabricate something interesting that has happened to them, so that they have something special about them, so that they can feel like, you know,
Feel like
there's
they're
something interesting
special.
that they can talk
Yeah.
about. Yeah, and I get that. And if that's true, it's sad because people can't be honest, but it is what it is. But because the difference is, because with ghosts, I feel like it's not just like a Western culture thing. Like, ghost stories have been told for years all over the world. Like, I
And by
think
years, we're talking about thousands and
thousands of
thousands and
years. Like,
thousands of years.
every culture has their own version of ghost stories, and I suppose it's because every culture, every person has to die, and no one really wants to. So, everyone wants a part of them to live on, whether that be in a horrific ghost or some other way. But
Right.
ghost stories have always been around, and I'm pretty sure they always will be. But aliens is something new, and for people to only just be talking about it now, and I don't know, it's
Well,
it's less credible. Like, as the human race evolves, it's just so convenient that everyone's being abducted now.
right.
What about like 500 years ago? Like, if they came now, would they be like, ah, no, they're not civilized enough, we're not going to put these in their butt yet? It's just like,
We're not
doesn't
gonna
make
put these in their butt yet.
no.
It's probably my favorite line in this whole thing. That or
Yeah.
shat their pants. But okay, Well, alien abduction itself is a somewhat new phenomenon, but the sightings of aliens and UFOs are not. You know,
It's true. Like maybe people back then just like when it happened, they just thought, well, I'm gonna be called a witch or something. I'll just never talk about it. I mean, I don't know. I'm talking from a
yeah,
point of view where I'm not an expert, but it's
right.
just
I
my
understand.
perception based on the limited interactions I've had
Hmm.
with a few people who claim it. Like I've read some stories from people who have claimed to have been abducted, and I'm not discrediting them. I'm just discrediting the people I've met
Yes,
and the way they behaved and reading their body language to me just made it seem a bit, I don't know, far fetched. Like when I saw them up in person when they were explaining it, it just seemed
believable.
less credible. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. But
uh,
then again, maybe that's just my prejudice. Maybe
it could be.
I really don't know.
Well, it's still fascinating to ponder, though.
It is. It is. I mean, everyone looks up to the sky sometimes and think, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if we
Yeah.
got this super nice race of aliens that came down and was like, hey, let's give you really cool technology. Let's go tour the universe together. Yeah, come on.
One
And then
story
we're,
I remember you
yeah.
narrating that was interesting to me was about the kids who like saw this bright light and then all of a sudden over their porch within rock throwing distance was a UFO, so they threw a bunch of rocks at it and it disappeared.
Yeah, well, I've actually got a family member who saw a UFO.
Really? Like that close?
Well, let me take you back to rural England.
Okay.
This must have been 35 years ago now.
Okay,
They
so this is
saw,
like an older family member.
yeah.
Okay.
So they saw in the sky a light. They were driving back from a friend's house, and
Mhm.
this is the countryside, like no other houses around.
Okay.
And they saw this really bright light in the sky, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" And they were quite scared, so they slowed down the car, and the bright light slowed down with it.
What?
And at this point, they got really scared, so they drove the car really fast, and the bright light in the sky it was a saucer, the typical UFO shape, just kept
Yeah.
up with them on the drive. And then
Whoa.
at one point, when they looked in the mirror, it was just gone. And then they drove home, and that was it. And thought, I must have been imagining things. I must have been really tired. The next morning, in the local newspaper, more reports have been published. Well, maybe not the next day, but that week in the local newspaper, they published that several other people had seen this strange light in the sky and claimed it had been a UFO. Now, this is a small town in England, right?
Yeah.
There's other people saw it. It must have been real. Like, was this a military aircraft 45 years ago that was soundless, really bright, following people and stopping in midair, going at, you know, car speed? I really doubt it.
I
I think if the government had this kind of technology years ago,
we wouldn't
they'd
have
have
any wars.
well, no, they probably have used it since then to
Oh
make
yeah.
better technology.
Oh yeah.
So to me, it's just like everyone saw it. Well, not everyone. People saw it. Then people, shared the fact that they saw it with their friends. It reached the newspaper. The newspaper published it,
Yeah.
and then just as quickly as it came out, it was forgotten because it's like, well, that's it. Like there was no like further inquiry into like what does this mean aliens are real. It was just kind of forgotten about, and it's just like it's a bit sad.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why that happens. Like people see things that are fascinating,
Well, what's interesting is that the
and
U.S.
then they
Navy
just drop
came
it.
out last year in the midst of the pandemic and was like, "Hey guys, so UFOs are real. They have been real, and what you've been seeing for the last 50, almost 100 years now, have been real. Um, Roswell crash was real. All of it was real. The only thing is, we don't know who's piloting them. We do know that their technology and flight capabilities are well beyond any of our understanding on any of the countries in this planet or on this planet. So, yeah, there you go. And
That's true. I missed that. The U.S. Navy just came out and said that.
yeah, it was they held a press conference and everything back in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic.
Great time to host it, right? When everyone's too busy worrying about everything else.
Exactly. And
No, I missed it. But how come more hype hasn't been made about it? Is my question. Like, people should be freaking out about this.
yeah, I mean, I agree. There should be a lot more. I'll even find it right now as we speak. Press conference 2020 UFOs. Um, yeah, right here. I found a news article. Um, the videos of the black and white video with the line on it where it's following this spacecraft. It's all in black and white and whatnot.
I
Um,
think I've seen it before.
yeah, that was their official. That video, those two videos were their official like coming out videos of these alien spacecraft, and yeah, no, it's quite interesting that they finally came out about UFOs, and they said, now I take it with a grain of salt, but that they don't know who is piloting them, that they do know that these things can move at a rate of speed that we have never seen or could even think of making with our current technology, that they have flight capabilities and are able to do aerial maneuvers that we can never even dream of doing with our technology right now. And they don't know who's piloting them. And that last piece makes me wonder because they have to know. They have to know, have an idea. Like, come on. They have to have an idea.
I'm just looking at the video you sent now. Is the middle thing?
Yeah, that little pill looking one, yeah. That's supposed to be.
That's the craft.
Yeah. And
It
actually,
sort of looks like.
that same pilot who took that video went on the Joe Rogan podcast and was like, look, this thing did things I couldn't even dream of doing. It like hovered, it went and touched like the top of the water, and then it flew straight up in the air, and then went at speeds we couldn't even keep up with. It was crazy. And I was like, whoa.
Wow, this is really weird.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the Pentagon held a press conference, was like, yeah, UFOs are real, man. Like, they've been real. Sorry to burst all your bubbles, but they're real. And we don't know who's
Well,
piloting them. And we do know they're not. We do know they're not from Earth.
well, there you go. Like, I think my biggest fear is that aliens think, oh, we can either destroy their planet or take all the people and then eat them or something like that. It's just scary stuff.
My theory is that maybe humans were designed by an alien race
For what purpose?
to see how we would grow and react with no assistance, no guidance. Just see how we would grow and evolve and what we would do with our technology as we built it. To see what it'd be like to live life without
hopefully
rules.
not kill each other.
I mean, that's happening though. That's happening for the most part. I think they were. I think we might have started as like an experiment to see, because I'm sure that they have rules that they have to follow to keep a healthy planet, to keep a healthy life, right? To
You'd think.
Right.
Did you ever watch South Park?
I did. You know, the
Have you ever seen the 100th episode?
I might have. Tell me
It's
about
where
it.
it's like a parody of the first ever episode they did, and it's where aliens come down, and it's like, oh, well, I'm really sorry, but it's cancelled. And they're like, what's cancelled? It's like Earth. And they're like, what do you mean it's cancelled? It's like Earth's a TV show. And they showed them like the trailer is like Earth, an all new TV show where we put together, like well, obviously they're really like crude and racist, but they say stuff like, let's put together black people, Jewish people, white people, animals, and they say all these random names. It might not be accurate, but they say all this stuff like, let's put all these things together and just see what happens. And they're like, yeah, and then the aliens are like, sorry, but your show is getting really boring now. I'm afraid it's gonna have to be cancelled. And they're like, no, you can't cancel. What happens if it's cancelled? It's like, oh, we just destroy the planet. And it's like, no. Let's not cancel the show. And they go through a stupid adventure to prevent the planet from being destroyed.
Oh my god, that sounds like South Park.
It is.
It's
It
very
was a
South
really.
Park.
I was really into it. Before, like, I think up until 2010, I was really into it. Watched every episode that had ever been released.
Really?
I think until like season 13 or 14, whenever they released their 200th episode. I was so into it.
Oh man.
But
You're a
I
South
haven't
Park
watched it
guy.
the last 10 years.
I haven't
Yeah,
watched
at
it
least
in
I
years.
was.
I haven't watched it
But,
in years myself, man. I feel you. You can only take so much of South Park for so long, and then it just kind of gets numbing.
Yeah, it just gets a bit samey, repetitive.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
And we grew up. We also grew
Yeah.
up.
We grew up like there's definitely an appeal for like the age range I was back then, but
Right.
as you grow, sometimes the crude humor stops being so funny.
It's true. It's true. Like, I don't really do like those kind of toilet jokes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
You mature, and yeah, maybe occasionally it's funny, but to have a whole TV show around this stuff is kind of well, it's just kind of not as funny anymore. And I think it's
Yeah,
because we
exactly.
grew up and we matured and we see through those kind of jokes now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Uh, all right, man. It's that time limit. So, thank you so much for being my guest again. Man, I was so happy to have you back. And I'm so happy you were able to make this happen because you are such a very busy guy. And thank you. Just thank you so much.
That's all. It's all good. It's been great chatting with you. Just let me know if you ever want to go again.
I do. There's still so much we could talk about. Like, we could be sitting here for a few hours, my man, in total.
Oh, at least, at
At
least.
least. It would be a great time. Everybody, thank you for coming here and watching this episode of Match Chats with Mortis Media as my guest. I would say please go like and subscribe to his channel, but you likely already have. So please go like and subscribe to my channel and show this video some love because
Do
Mortis
that.
is
You
amazing.
please do that. That would make me very happy.
It would make him happy. He loves helping smaller channels.
I do.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and just remember, you are loved and you are validated always.
Indeed. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.